Well, good. Did you say afternoon? You know me, right? So it's afternoon, officially. I stayed at it's actually a pretty nice little rest area. It's called the Valley View Rest Area. It's operated by the community of Valley View. They got the typical stuff there as well as brochures, maps, and all that. But pretty nice, you know. But now it's time to head on out. Gonna go into Grande Prairie, get some gas, stock up on groceries, and if there's anything in there in Grande Prairie, we'll take a look at it. So let's get a move on. All right, howdy from Grande Prairie. Grande Prairie in Alberta, just getting pretty close to the British Columbia border. But I made a quick stop here before it closes. Got to zoom right through it, as usual. This is the Grande Prairie History and Pioneer Museum. I just wanted to show you a couple things here. This is kind of a replica, not a replica, but actually buildings that have been used since the early 1900s, and two of them that I wanted to show you right here, actually three of them. They're all residences, but this first one was a cabin where, let's take a look at it here real quick. So when this cabin was built, it had the front room here, and then it had a bedroom here. I'll show you. This is where the parents lived. And then over here it had a second bedroom where the daughter lived. And as you can see, it's not a bedroom anymore. So what happened is, back in those days in the early 1900s, so the kitchen was up here first. And then back in those days, it was not considered polite to have guests and serve them food in the same room where you were cooking. So what the daughter said, hey, Mom and Dad, I feel sorry about this, so I'm going to give up my bedroom and I'll just sleep on a bunk right out here. But I'm going to give up my bedroom so that you can turn it into a kitchen, and then whenever we have guests, you can serve them here in the front room, and that'll be polite. You're not serving them food in the kitchen. So pretty interesting, this how social things change, you know, over the years. Now the second one is actually a cabin. Interesting story about this. This is a cabin from a guy that just showed up in the Yukon. This was originally in the Yukon, and nobody knew where he came from and nobody knew his background, but they soon learned that he was an irascible soul, and he just scared the dickens out of everybody. And in fact, he built a pretty formidable property around his cabin here, so that nobody would dare come up here. But one day, a RCMP guy came up the way, and this guy here shot at him. Didn't kill him, but from then on, they let's see, Albert Johnson. From then on, they were trying to capture him, and just because of what he did, they finally got him. Got into a gun battle and killed him. And after trying to find out who he was, they found out that he he had inherited a fortune at the age of 22, and then came up here to the Yukon and or came up to the Yukon and did his thing up here. And they also they were able to take fingerprints. Yes, they had fingerprints at the time, but it turned out they can never make a really an idea of him as being a criminal or anything like that. So the mystery stands, and nobody knows where Albert Johnson came from and where he got his money, and why he came up to the Yukon territories to live in a little cabin like that. And then our next one here is another house. So the bedrooms are typical for the period. We had the parents' bedroom here, and then right around the corner you had a space for the baby. And then over here, got the kids' bedrooms. And yep, the kids would share that bed, you know. So I always find it amazing to come to these old houses and see the way they lived and compare them to the way that we live, you know, these days. And the thing that I find really interesting, again, is this, where the front entrance to the house came right into the kitchen. And if you think about it, you know, you're really saving a lot of space. And bam, walk right into the kitchen there. And then, oh yeah, there's the dining area and probably the social area as well. And then, you know, we don't need these big houses with the dining room, the family room, the foyer, the this room, that room. So anyway, so these are the buildings I wanted to show you. Then we'll take a quick tour here. Just take a quick zip right through into the museum itself. And this one struck me right off the bat. This was yesteryear's moving van, right? So interestingly, the preferred time of year to move was during the winter, because it didn't have to go down rickety dirt roads or tracks or out on the prairie, but use sleighs to go right over the snow. Look at that. But this museum's got all sorts of an eclectic assortment of stuff. You can see it for yourself here. So really an interesting little place here in the town of Grande Prairie. I'd spend more time here, but they're getting ready to close. And the reason I got here so late is because I was going to get gas, and I noticed a screw in my tire. Yeah, I got another screw in my tire. So I had to go get that fixed, and it took a while. So this is it for Grande Prairie. But there's a nice little park here as well. So the Grande Prairie Museum Heritage Village. Now I got to go to the store and stock up for the next few days. And so I think, nope, I think I got one more thing, maybe. So let's see what happens. Okay, one last stop before we leave Alberta and cross the border into British Columbia. You ready? It's the world's largest beaver. That's right. You're looking at all 15 feet high and 18 feet long of the world's largest beaver. Now we're in a place called Beaver Lodge. Beaver Lodge was settled in 1910 and was doing its thing until the 1940s when most of Main Street burned down. So then the town eventually rebuilt, and then in 2002 most of Main Street burned down again. So to bolster spirits, in 2004 the town commissioned the world's largest beaver to help attract people, tourists and stuff coming to the town of Beaver Lodge. And I guess it's done a pretty good job because the town's population today is 2,100. How about that? So it's the world's largest beaver. Oh, and by the way, in 2022 they finally had a name with the town folk to pick a name, and well, they picked the name Justin Beaver. So the world's largest beaver on right along Highway 43 and going westbound to British Columbia. And that's the last thing we're going to see in Alberta. And I guess that'll do it for this episode. So stay tuned and see what comes up. He's like, oh brother. So I got to figure out what to do with him, or how to. I don't want to kill him.